I've not used this before, so I'm just trying it out.
Hey man, it's been too long since we sat down and that just feels wrong. Allow me to give my head a shake, open my eyes and fix a mistake. Do you wanna come over, just like the old times? We'll hit pause and then hit a rewind. You wanna come over, just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly. Hey buddy, no strangers here. These times I hold them dear. My door's open, so come on in. This was great, let's do it again. Do you wanna come over, just like the old times? We'll hit pause and then hit rewind. You wanna come over, just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly. Do you wanna come over, just like the old times? We'll hit pause and then hit rewind. You wanna come over, just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly.
So, look at it. Look at it. We're talking about UFOs today. I just want to say off the top of the at the top of the show, I went to the shops to buy a tinfoil hat because all I had was this one, and they said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Tinfoil hat. You know, the ones that the conspiracy theorists wear, so that the lasers and the stuff can enter their brains." And they said that laser must have entered your brain because you can't buy tinfoil hats. I said, "Mate, I don't know what you're on, but I've seen them. I've seen them so many times. What are you talking about? I'm not making this up. A tinfoil hat is, that's a term for a reason, right?" Anyway, so I was going to just go and make my own out of tinfoil, but the wife said, "No, I can't use the tinfoil."
You've used too much. Tinfoil is expensive, not in this economy.
Right, exactly. I just wanted, even if it was like a an artificial tinfoil hat. Doesn't have to be real. It can be just built out of whatever material. Doesn't matter, does it? As long as it's in the shape of a tinfoil hat.
Saran wrap?
Maybe I'll take a US hat. Saran wrap just came around and I had the wrong one. I wrapped my head in plastic.
Look, I got a new chair. I can sit up.
You can't see it. Lift it.
Right there.
There it is. Oh, hello, Gaz. How you going, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
An alien on your left side as well.
Yeah, look at perfect.
On left, there's a UFO on your left. Yeah. Right there.
I got that. I got that back in the mid '90s at the X-Files convention.
Hey, nice.
Ooh, yeah, it was one of them guys.
And Hans Chow looking fresher than ever. I swear you've got that Benjamin Button thing where you're just going backwards. Outrageous.
As soon as school starts again, I'm going back to my bed. And
that's the real conspiracy, is Hans Chow's age. Let's say hi to the chat real quick, and then we can get into it. We got a UFO and an alien from our pal Michael Mercy. How are you, buddy? We're discussing Hedge Force on his last video.
Yeah, watch that.
So good. Mate, they got to be bringing those branches with them. Cutthroat Comics coming in here after his first live stream with his first guest. Imagine having a real comic book writer on as your first guest. And guess what? We had a comic book guy as our first guest too. Happened to be Cutthroat Comics. Stephen Hall saying, "Hey, all." Hey, that was good. I like that. Enjoyed that. Good. Gaz with his spacey. Howdy, Jensen. Howdy to you. WJ, will there be alien action figures and UFO vehicles? That's a good question. I didn't bring any. I do have some Action Force Red Shadows, but none of the Force.
I got a. How about this? Probably the closest thing to an alien. Actually, no. I got a Gort. He's right there.
You say Gort?
Gort, from the day the Earth stood still. The robot guy.
Oh,
right. That silver thing right there.
Yes. I got you. I got you. That's cool. My 3 favorite guys on the stream. You're too kind. Far too kind. And we finally got an answer to the goatee situation. Abducted. Well, you start with the goatee and you work your way around the Hans. You can't take Hans all at once because he'll never take that. He'll kick the door in. Jeff Butler.
I'll never get abducted.
Hey there, buddy. Michael's giving out thumb kisses. Back at you. Fandom Power podcast with a woot woot. Woot woot. Hans looks younger than everybody.
No, he does, doesn't he?
Oh, good. The Gillette system. Hilarious. Hilarious. And Kiwi's here. Good morning. Ooh.
No, wait.
Technically, that's a predator. He goes against the aliens.
He is an extraterrestrial.
It's definitely extra. So I think in the Predator movie, wasn't it originally going to be Jean-Claude Van Damme in the suit?
In a lizard suit.
Lizard suit. That's just real form. And yeah, thanks for that. Smash that like button. And did you know Predator was voiced by our buddy Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen?
Peter Cullen, that's right.
How good is that? Who also did Nemesis Enforcer?
He came off of another job before, and his voice was really hoarse.
Yeah,
you heard this story?
Nah.
What was that?
He came off of a job. So as a voice actor, right? I know as well because sometimes you end up speaking for hours and hours and hours on end, and your throat gets really sore. But he had just come off of one where he had to do a lot of shouting, and it kind of causes a throat bleed, which is as unpleasant as it sounds. So and you should look this story up on YouTube. It's a wonderful story. But he goes up close.
Sounds wonderful.
And he starts making these noises, the same sounds that crabs make when they're now coming out of the water. And yeah. And the sound director's like, "What is he doing? He's just stupid." Blah. And then the technician calls him up and they listen to him and they go, "All right, cool. Next line. Let's keep going because it sounds so good, you know."
That's brilliant. Rounding the corner, and there's Triple T, Joe Fan 84. Evening again, and hey Hans to you.
I can't remember the musical that I was talking about the last time we were on that had Peter Cullen do the voice for this little robot. It was like this. It was like a space punk rocker from comes down, and the whole thing's like a musical. It starts off with that. Was the Michael Jackson brother Jermaine Jackson?
Yeah,
he did like a duet with this. He did the duet with this girl. It's a really good song. Something about the rain will fall or something like that. But it starts with it's. Sorry.
Nothing.
It starts with this video and then it goes into the movie, which has absolutely nothing to do with the video, which is hilarious. But anyway, nonetheless, just Peter Cullen.
Cindy's back, and then she's back again. Guess who's back? Cindy, hope you're feeling better. She did want to let us know that she was in an accident, but she's survived. She will survive. She's all good. Well, I don't know how good she is. Hopefully you're all good, or at least on your way to recovery. Thanks for tuning in. And Zazel and Gaz, how do you two do 2 streams? How do you say this? Made us doing this tongue twister. How do you two do 2 streams in one day? I've done 3.
That's this dude. I only did.
Technically, Zazel's only done like 1 because today is tomorrow.
Yeah, today's a new day. Yeah, that's right. Who needs sleep? I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'm a lot better. That's good to hear. That's excellent.
Good. Right, Cindy.
Uh-oh. Joe Fan had some trouble here. I went into my Joe room and didn't realize the cat came in with me.
Uh-oh.
2 hours.
No.
Oh, no.
Hopefully they just knocked it down and didn't break anything or chew anything.
Medic!
Doc! Call Doc!
Call Doc. Where's Lifeline? Joe's down.
Don't forget to hit that like button if you're tuning in. If you're watching this on the replay, where were you? No, but thank you for watching. All right. So, Gaz, when do you want me to throw your slides up?
Whenever we want to start talking about UFOs.
Let's do it.
Buzz in my house.
Did they still call them UFOs? I thought they changed their name.
That little X right there. Can I do
what is
that?
it? Hit the X.
Yeah,
I don't know why it keeps popping up.
Do it again.
There we go. All right, so there we go. There's my first slide, and I put these together. a couple of months ago, and I don't remember anything about them.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google real quick what they call UFOs now. UFO definition.
It's UAPs. They're now
UAP.
UAPs.
Yeah.
Nah.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
Because UFOs is tainted.
Oh yeah, because they had a great record before.
Oh, there you go.
So
Mr. JLS and Mr. Mercy, both of them got it. At the
Oh.
same time.
So JLS Comics, how are you, buddy? Coming in with the short version, and Mark Mercy typing in the full unidentified aerial phenomena.
All right.
Anyway, see, this is why we have smarter people in the chat than us to tell us all the stuff we don't
Why
know.
we need them to come on so to make us look good.
Yeah, right. It's like, jump on. What are you doing? Join us. Join one of us.
UFOs.
Join us.
All
If
right.
you have a tinfoil hat, bring that. I've just got the props.
So
Big
I don't know
props to the chat.
I don't know what's going on with that old dude in the car with the bullet holes in it. That's got
It's
nothing to
an
do with what we're it's got nothing to do with what we're talking about today.
ORV bullet holes.
All
Bullet
right,
holes. Isn't that might
so-
be who was the gangsters back in the day?
Oh, what's his name? Oh, I forget his name. Oh, they did a movie about him. Sean Penn played him. Bugsy
Well,
Siegel? Bugsy Siegel? No,
Could be
he was in
Bugsy.
Vegas. He was in Vegas, right? Who was it? It'll come to me later. It's that internet live on the internet thing where your mind just goes blank.
we'll put Hans at the top there. So apparently they broke Hawk from Captain Power. Wait, Hawk from Captain Power. Is that a? Anyway, Hawk from. I'm going to read it as I see it. Broke Hawk from Captain Power backpack power flight glider thing. Gotcha. Fixed with super glue. Good stuff. I'm still sick as crap with the Rona. Oh, sorry to hear that, mate. Wore yourself out. Knocked everything else over. That's all right. We will rebuild.
Yes, we will rebuild. Sorry about the Ronin thing.
Hey, Jeff. Jeff saying if Dave Grohl pops on in, it's because of any actual Foo Fighters discussion. Okay. We may. You never know. I like Foo Fighters. I was slow on the uptake when Foo Fighters was a thing. I was too extreme for Foo Fighters.
Oddly enough, the first time I heard them was on the X-Files soundtrack for the TV show. They had a song.
There you go.
Yeah,
Which song was it?
Oh man, I'll have to look it up. I don't remember. It's been a while.
Ah, it's all good. Oh, I knew you wouldn't know.
I can look it up. I have the technology.
Yeah. Okay, carry on.
I think,
what are we-
I think it was called Down in the Park. Is the name of the song.
Fair enough. Oh, speaking of phenomena, we got the
we
blue Sasquatch.
Whoa, we got Sasquatch fighting. There he is.
Yeah, you shouldn't have eaten those chicken nuggets. I don't know. I've never used that as a lesson to learn. Always eat those chicken nuggets and regret later. Rounding that corner, trying to chase up that Triple T, Joe Fan 84's got some competition in the race. It's G-Force Racing 20. Third time seeing Zazel in 13 hours. And hey to everyone else.
There we
go. Soon? Tomorrow? Today? Yesterday? We should have always had them, but I'm happy to have them in any form. Let's bring them out. Let's do it. Super 7.
I think that show was the only show, in my opinion, that made Grays scary. That and Fire in the Sky. Those are the two only movies. Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky. That gave me legitimate nightmares.
Yeah, the Travis Walton story, right?
Huh?
The Travis Walton story. Fire in the Sky, right?
Yeah,
that was
a great movie. Woodman 29, how are you, my friend? Thanks for tuning in.
Woodman.
Frozen nuggets. Did you at least cook them first? Then you may have some regrets. So apparently, JLS Comics says the searchlights are the famous Battle of Los Angeles. Is that what we're looking at here?
Exactly is what we're looking at. So this is 3 months after Pearl Harbor. So this is 1942. My memory correct. JLS, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But when it officially started, like in 1946, with that, I forget his name. I had an article with him coming up where he spotted a squadron of UFOs flying, and that's where they termed a coin flying saucers. We're talking about this here is when just after Pearl Harbor, so everything was on edge. They set up all these aerial watches around LA Harbor, and all of a sudden they started shooting at things in the sky, and they took this picture of apparently what they were shooting at, and now move to the next slide, which will show it in a little clearer detail. And as you can see, there's something strange in the lights in the center that looks kind of UFO-ish. Kind of like what's hovering over Hans's head right now.
Those lights are tracers, or those
spotlights.
No,
yeah.
the lights around the little.
Oh, that's flak apparently.
That's flak, so tracers.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So they spotted this thing going over, and it's got some wild night, and like this right here is the article in the paper, which I first found. There's that thing again.
What year is this?
1942, about approximately 3 months after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, but you know what that is. That's not a UFO.
Don't debunk them straight off the start of the show.
That is when, do you remember the Germans at the time, they started to set up secret bases in Antarctica, and they were experimenting with flying saucer technology. That was one of theirs.
Flying Bell.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know about that one. But
well, I sure hell the Hindenburg.
Well, I don't know about the Hindenburg, but
yeah, that's a little bit more obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really know about this. I thought this was like when I first saw a picture of it, and I thought, oh man, they're just talking about 1940. Is it 1941, the Jim Belushi movie?
Right.
Where he's flying the flying Warhawk through the streets thinking he's chasing a Zero, and it's actually just two people in a plane trying to have sex.
Man, I haven't seen that movie since the 80s. I'm going to go back and revisit that.
The movie's great. It's got a whole bunch of good people in it. It's great.
If that is indeed one of the Nazi flying saucers, I think that would add a lot more layers to the story itself. That would be crazy if it was, though, because even back in those days, you know.
Whew. Because just being a straight UFO with aliens inside is not enough. It's got to be Nazis from Antarctica flying a UFO.
Has to be. It says Joe Fan's saying the flying discs could have come from Japan. We'll have to ask Phil. Sending balloon bombs over. I've read articles, so no telling if it's true.
Yeah.
Who knows what's true? Remember when the Bermuda Triangle was like the biggest unknown flying, the disappearing planes, boats, and all of that sort of stuff. Everyone was like, "Oh, I bet you that's aliens."
Might be.
Has to be. It's been debunked since, but I reckon that's just more conspiracy. That's cool. That's a pretty good photo.
That's a clean photo.
Yeah, I try to find a cleaner one than this, because everything I could find was like this movie one. This newspaper article right here.
You can almost hear the voice. Searchlights and anti-aircraft guns comb sky during alarm. You almost kind of,
Love it.
I almost wish I could find some like movie reel about it. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, it was rocked from air to air as flak guns fired upon an unknown flying object. You get this kind of.
I'll tell you, this guy does everything.
Yeah.
He's become our official third member of our chat. So you got to be here every Monday.
Yeah.
Every
does all the voiceover stuff.
It's gonna be Xaz, Gazz, and Hans.
Yep, done.
All right.
Done.
No question.
That's right. When you become too good for the show, that's when you start running the show. It's going to be Hans, Gazz, and Xaz. We're going to lead with Hans.
Hans, Gazz, and Xaz. We're gonna hit those marks. All right, here we go. Let's go to the next one. All right, so this is Supersonic Ohio. So I think this I don't know why I have this. I think this is part of that. Chicago. It's just another sighting. I don't even know why I put that on there. I don't remember. Okay, so this is the guy that spotted the squadron over Mount Rainier in 1946, if I'm remembering it. And this is his what he described he saw. And news reporter.
Batarang.
Yeah, but it looks like a batarang, right? It's Batman. Anyway, wrote down an article and he called it a flying saucer. And this is where the term flying saucer is coined from this article. He didn't even come up with it, but yeah. But yeah, so he's just flying his little Cessna. Everybody's heard the story, right? And he sees this like grouping of objects, and he tries to follow them, and it could have been birds for all we know.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And he spotted this, and now we have this whole phenomenon called UFOs. Or sorry, what was it? Michael Mercy, what was it?
UAPs.
I refuse to call it. No, it just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah. So this is the article that I think it's another article about when the craze is picked up in the 50s, where everybody's seeing aliens like left and right. Well, sorry, UFOs left and right, and that clearly is just a hubcap thrown in the air like a frisbee.
Road ballot not in sight. Unbelievable.
So I could do
You want to read it?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Farmer's camera captures movement of flying object. No waterspout, no hallucinations. The camera of Paul Trent, Route 3, Miniville, captured the above photos of flying objects, which might very well be the only pictures in existence of the highly controversial and often scoffed at flying saucers. Taken nearly a month ago from the backyard of his farm, 11 miles southwest of McMinnville, Trent's pictures were unearthed when a telephone register reporter followed up a tip given by Ralph and Frank Wortman, McMinnville bankers. Then they'd seen the pictures and were willing, They were willing to back Trent's reputation veracity.
Nice.
Can we just have like a video, just a live stream where Hans just reads over?
Yeah. We're gonna do an old-fashioned radio show. That's what we'll do. You gotta read the last part.
It was the worst of times.
This is the best of time. Read the last part there, though, because there's a quote.
Oh, Trent was reluctant to allow use of the pictures. I'm afraid I'll get into trouble with the government. He worried.
Perfect.
Actually, his problem was like, if it's McMinnville, I'll be like, I'm afraid I'll get into trouble with the government.
Yeah, you come from McMinnville. Where is McMinnville? Never heard of it.
So here, I just found a couple of other photos taken in the 50s. This one clearly is yet another. I think it's a Chrysler hubcap this time.
You serious?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
that's what it looks like, seriously. But nonetheless, that's what it is. And I think the U.S. Air Force, not Air Force, I think it was the U.S. Army, because they didn't have an Air Force then, right? Air Corps, I believe the Army Air Corps. They opened up a project, I believe it was called Blue Book, where they were taking cases and trying to investigate them and clearly fudging them to make people look crazy, and saying it's a Chrysler hubcap that you're seeing there. It's not an actual UFO.
Some people are using it as a frisbee.
Aliens are now grouped with NHI, or non-human intelligence. There's not a lot of human intelligence, but we've at least got some intelligence in the chat today telling us all this cool stuff. JLS Comics, you should join us on one of these shows. I'm still on unread on Instagram, so
aliens is such a weird term, right? Because it's really not aliens, they're extraterrestrials, right? Alien means like from elsewhere. It could be here with alien, but like my whole thing behind aliens, right, is that they are so intelligent that they can reach here, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
As far as I'm concerned, we have a bunch of like punk alien teenagers coming down here and tipping over our cows. That's what we have, because that's how primitive that technology would be to them, sort of thing. But the other thing is that I don't think they exist wholly on like this plane. You know what I mean? I think
I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson who said that our smartest people, mathematicians or whatnot, what they know is being the smartest and most intellectual people here on Earth, out there in extraterrestrial land, what they know could be what their children are learning in kindergarten for like, you know, for knowledge.
They don't have schools.
Well, that's what I'm just saying.
They're born, they get a little, and now they know everything, and they can go and do whatever it is they want.
I must have missed out on that.
Their mother comes in and gives them a little tentacle kiss, wah, and they know.
Totally
knowledge. Yeah.
I want the visit too. All right. So, whoa! What just happened?
There he is. He mentioned the name and he appears.
All right. That was crazy. All right, here we go. There's another
It's a
another one.
conspiracy. That's
There's
cool.
another one. That's a great picture. I saw
That
that. I'm like, I
is.
gotta put that in there. That's awesome. The way it's done.
Yeah,
It's a
I love that shot.
It's a great hubcap from a '55 Chevy.
Yeah.
It's a Bel no, but yeah, like these are just I get by thousands. They were coming into the Air Force or Army Air Corps, whatever it was. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure. I'm not too good. And then this is the famous UFO sighting over Washington D.C. in the 50s. The lights over the White House. And unfortunately, I didn't really get anything from outside from the U.S. because apparently it's the UFO phenomenon is just massive here.
Well,
and so yeah, this was a
like modern day technology. You can fudge a lot of photos, right?
mm-hmm.
But it would have taken a great deal of effort to fake a photo back then.
I don't know if this is the actual photo,
Sure,
but I know that this happened, and I'm pretty much sure this is probably a fudged one. But nonetheless,
That's a lot of hubcaps.
This yeah, it's a lot of hubcaps, yeah. But this apparently, I guess, you shut down the air sector around the Washington D.C. and they had all the planes flying around looking for him and stuff. It's pretty intense moment.
Mm.
We just did it again. I think the aliens are trying to stop
trying to
us.
forward us to the end of the show quickly.
Yeah. I mean, something on concrete. Oh, this is the Canadian one. So I do actually have international. This one was a Shag Harbor incident. I watched a special on, I think it was History Channel, where this light in the sky crashed in the harbor.
Right.
All these people saw it, and there's a glow in the harbor, and some freaky stuff happened and stuff. And then the Canadian Air Force just like glossed it over, and people still trying to figure out what happened.
Of course they did.
Yeah. And then these are the famous Phoenix lights that happened, I believe, in the late 90s, where people all over Phoenix spotted this. You have this photo from every perspective possible. Every person from every walk of life has seen this thing in Phoenix, even the governor. But the governor made a kind of a joke of it, right? But now he's trying to clean it up by saying, the ex-governor saying there was something there, and people are stating that this is over a couple about a couple miles wide.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So is this one UFO with the lights around it, not several UFOs? And,
there are people that spotted it and said that it's a one solid object, and obviously I think it was I don't know if it's the Air Force or the Army. I believe it was the Army. Well, the Air Force flies A-10s, right?
Oh well.
A-10 Wardogs. They said it was an Air-10 flight that were dropping flares, and apparently that don't look like flares to me. They don't sit in that kind of pattern, and it's not like they're all just dipping down on one side. It was like a triangle shape that was just hovering over, formation over
the chevron formation.
Crazy, and this incident I think got Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton at the time, interested and really wanted them to break into figuring out what the hell is going on here. Because I would just jump from like the Shag Harbor incident, which happened in the late 70s, to I think it's 1998, 99 when this happened. And there was an incident in England in an Air Force base where a couple of MPs.
That was just a space commander. He hovered too low.
Yeah. This thing landed outside of an Air Force base that was, I believe, housing nuclear missiles. I'm not sure, bomb-wise missiles, right? That's actually not a missile; it's a bomb. Anyway, nonetheless, MP had taken notes. There were shapes on the object and stuff like that, and they're still trying to figure out what it was. And a lot of the military guys that were there got kind of whitewashed out of. Well, I don't even know if that's a word, right?
Washed out.
Called crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
And meanwhile, any pilots at the time that had seen this Air Force, passenger plane pilots would see this, they would just, brush it under the rug because nobody wanted to come out. You could lose your job, labeled crazy or whatnot. And they didn't want to do that. But nonetheless, this happened.
So I don't recall that. This is great though. I remember when I was a kid, I used to read a lot of books about UFO sightings and stuff. Right, I was full on into it even before X-Files came out. It's a bit older when X-Files came out, but used to read a lot of UFO books and look up newspaper articles in the library, stuff like that. And there used to be quite a bit, even government stuff. Right, you'd see a lot of government stuff, but then it went all hush hush, and nobody was talking about anything. And you don't really hear even about it much today, not as much as you used to.
Well, there's a movie called Hangar 18. Have you ever seen this movie?
I don't know. I don't think so. Remind me.
It stars what's his name? The father from A Christmas Story. Forget his name. He played Kochek the Night Stalker. He's in this movie. A couple. I think James Brolin. Is that his? Who played Cable?
Josh Brolin.
Right? Yeah, James Brolin is his father. He was in it. And what happens is they're in a space shuttle flight, and they're launching a new satellite and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, these lights appear over their shuttle as they're launching it, and it crashes, and it ends up being a UFO, and it crashes into the satellite. So the UFO crashes, an astronaut dies or whatever. They come down and they're like, "Well, what happened?" And the government completely just, glossed the story over. So the whole story is about the two of them trying to uncover what's going on. Meanwhile, the dad from Christmas Story is part of NASA, and he's heading up the project that investigates the UFO, which is in Hangar 18, right? And he's getting there, and he has no idea what's going on. So the whole story is about the two astronauts trying to find out what happened and try to find out where this UFO is. And at the end of it, spoilers, it came out in the 70s, so I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
The Air Force crashes a private jetliner into the hangar to blow it up, but they all, it survives. Nonetheless, it's a good flick. It's an old 70s. It feels like when you watch it, feels like one of those TV movies, but it's really cool. It's here on YouTube, actually.
All right, I'll check it out.
All right, so the next slide.
JLS actually mentions the Rendlesham Forest incident. That was actually, if you have time, if you go in and read that up. It's always interesting that when people observe extraterrestrials on the ground, they always have like two mixed reports. They say they look organic, but they also say they look metal. And I think that whatever they've reached, they've kind of combined the two things together to get the best possible results, which is why, bipedal, like from a biology standpoint, the more bipedal you are, the straighter your spine, the higher your head is away from the ground is a sign of intelligence, right? We gained that when we came from apes and we were foraging around in the water, and we learned to raise our heads up, and that kind of allowed development of muscles and such, which allowed more proteins and stuff to get to the brain. And that was kind of interesting because most aliens are also portrayed as bipedal. And sometimes, though, they will go on all fours to do crazy stuff, like run or whatever. And I always find that very interesting about extraterrestrials, because I think Joe Fan said it. They can go anywhere in space and time or whatever, but they keep coming here. And it's really only like a science experiment. They've kind of reached this level of intelligence and godhood where we're kind of like an ant farm almost. They come here like a zoo, and they look at us like looking at Taylor Swift and stuff. And they're like, look at these monkeys. Whatever it is, And I just hope that we stay cool,
Right. Well, I mean, if you had that sort of technology, you came down this way, picked up a transmission of any movie starring aliens, you'd be like, I am not talking to these guys. But I've pulled up. If you give me a moment, I've got the Rendlesham Forest incident up here. I've pulled it up on the old Gazz technology. I'll read it out if you want to hear it.
Sure. Let's do it.
So it's main event. So it's December 26th. And then December 28th, I'll read it from Wikipedia. So it goes like this. Around 0300 on the 26th of December, 1980, as reported 27th of December by Holt in his memo to the UK Ministry of Defence, security patrol near the east gate of RAF Woodbridge saw lights apparently descending into nearby Rendlesham Forest. These lights have been attributed by astronomers to a piece of natural debris being burned up as a fireball over southern England at the time. Servicemen initially thought it was a downed aircraft, According to Holt's memo, upon entering the forest to investigate, they witnessed a glowing object that was metallic in appearance with colored lights. As they attempted to approach the object, it appeared to move through the trees, and the animals on a nearby farm went into a frenzy. One of the servicemen, Sergeant Jim Peniston, later claimed to have encountered a craft of unknown origin while in the forest, although there is no publicized mention of this at the time, and there is no corroboration from other witnesses. Shortly after 0400 hours, local police were called to the scene, but reported that there was only lights they could see. The only lights that they could see were those from the Orford Ness Lighthouse, some miles away on the coast. After daybreak of the morning of the 26th of December, servicemen returned to a small clearing near the eastern edge of the forest and found 3 small impressions on the ground in a triangular pattern, as well as burn marks and broken branches of nearby trees. By 10:30, the local police were called out again, this time to see the impressions, which they thought could have been made by an animal. In the book written by Georgina Bruni, You Can Tell the People, published a photograph of the supposed landing site taken on the morning after the first sighting. Then on the 28th of December, just a short little bit here to add to it, the Deputy Base Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt, visited the site with several servicemen in the early hours of the 28th of December, 1980. They took radiation readings in the Triangle of Depressions and in the surrounding area using what is called an ANPDR-27, a standard U.S. military radiation survey meter. Although they recorded 0.07 milliroentgens per hour, they recorded some stuff. In other regions, they detected 0.3 to 0.4 per hour around the background level. Furthermore, they detected a similar small burst over half a mile away from the landing site. And Holt recorded the events on a micro cassette recorder. It was during the investigation that a flashing red light was seen across the field in the east, almost in line with the farmhouse, as witnesses had seen on the first night. The Orford Ness Lighthouse is visible further to the east in the same line of sight. So later, and this is the final part of it, later, according to Holt's memo, 3 star-like lights were seen in the sky, 2 to the north and 1 to the south, around 10 degrees above the horizon. Holt said that the brightest of these hovered for 2 to 3 hours and seemed to beam down a stream of light from time to time. Astronomers have explained these star-like lights as bright stars. Rubbish. Aliens, for sure. Definitely aliens.
Yes, totally. When's the last time you saw a star shining light down?
Or a lighthouse, for that matter. Yeah,
that's right. That's what I'm saying.
What's the infamous one? It was a weather balloon.
It was a weather balloon.
I'd like to go back to that one. And they're trying to. So according to this one, as a possible hoax, and I'll just give this real quick, is that they are trying to say that it was a joke. The SAS troops was a joke as for a revenge, and it was apparently black helium balloons and some remote-controlled kites. Yeah, whatever. Bullshit. And here's one of the images that they had in this whole area was all cleared out.
It's an interesting story.
It was the Flatwood monster again.
Oh, of course. Well, this isn't a monster one today. We're aliens only. Keep your monsters out of here.
So then we move to the next slide, which is the more recent sightings that's been being seen in Mexico and Japan. These are like metal spheres floating around like volcanoes. One down in Mexico, they get these a lot, and I think it was before that massive earthquake a few years back in Japan. What was it, a tsunami or whatever? This was spotted. These kind of UFOs were spotted flying around. Now I think with some of these. They think they're piloted by actual beings, so I think they might be like drones being sent here.
Could be. You would send a drone, wouldn't you? You wouldn't send an actual individual.
Yeah. So that's these interesting ones about this, and there was actually just one a few months ago in, I think it was New York City. A woman on a plane that was coming in for a landing just happened to be looking out the window and filming the landing as she's flying by New York, and she spotted this craft just zip by
Oh,
sit
nice.
by the. I mean, it could be anything, right? But it looks similar to this.
I want to believe.
Mm. So then this is
Cool.
the famous
Oh, I remember this.
this early, I believe it's the early 2000s when this happened. I could be wrong. This is the Nimitz aircraft group sightings, the famous Tic Tac incident.
Mm.
This is what started the whole new interest in UAPs. This right here, because now you have Air Force, Navy pilots coming out and saying that we've seen this stuff, and there's actually video footage of them falling around trying to figure it out.
I see UFO written distinctly on the side there.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, you can't fool me.
And then obviously these guys right here. Sorry.
Yep.
The classic 50s UFO. This is Harry Rayhausen.
It's a boob.
Infamous movie Earth versus the Flying Saucers. And obviously the most famous depiction of what a UFO looks like in Hollywood.
Yes.
I wonder why they chose that shape.
Easy to build.
Well, I mean,
Maybe.
it all stems from that 1946 article when the guy, I forget his name, saw the grouping of what he called flying discs.
Yeah.
Disc, and they coined the phrase flying saucer, so they just depicted it off of that. But I mean, like, yeah, I can't imagine that. You know, it could be any shape. I mean, for quite a lot. I mean, if you're going to come here and you're going to disguise your ship, I mean, you could just look like a jetliner flying over, and nobody would know,
That's
right?
true.
A bird, whatnot.
Look like a cloud.
Look like a cloud. And then there's a famous movie, one of my favorite all-time movies. And if you've not seen this movie, it's a classic.
Presented for the first time in color.
And then again, a big 80s UFO phenomenon, the miniseries V.
Yes. Remember Alien Nation?
It's not real. Alienation as well. You know,
Yeah.
visitors come down and we're your
Alf.
friends. We have Alf, yeah, and they want to eat either you or your cat.
That's true. The Borg had a cube. Just a box.
That's right, it's a box. And then what I was saying here is there's billions of stars out there, billions of galaxies, and to think that we're the only ones here.
That's
You gotta be a lunatic not to think that there's other life out there.
Has to
Only
be.
go where no man has gone before. Let's go to the third star to the right. Have some
That's
fun.
it. Straight on till morning.
And then my favorite one of my favorite scientists. if you were trying to just read out this because you're the most intelligent of the three of us.
Yeah,
Claiming
that's
there's
all.
no other life in the universe is like scooping up some water, looking at the cup, and claiming there are no whales in the ocean. Neil
Thank you.
deGrasse Tyson.
That's not the quote that I wanted. There's another quote where he says about life in the galaxy. I don't know it. I was looking for it. It goes something like, our sun is yet one of just billions of stars, that are just normal stars. And around those billions of stars around them, some of them have planets. So that makes even billions and billions of planets. And it gets to the point where I said earlier, there's so much chance for life out there. It's kind of ridiculous not to think that there isn't any life out there. And yeah, they could be visiting us.
They say.
If you think of no, go ahead, Hans.
No, at the single cellular level, like you'll find stuff. There's always gonna find stuff,
Right.
But they say that if you find multicellular organisms, like that starts to get scary. And then when you find things that are multicellular complex, like rats and little things, that get scary and scarier. And then if you find like structures and tool usage, at that point it's time to start developing laser guns, because then I don't know if you ever this stuff. I love this stuff because it's But you ever heard about the dark forest theory?
Oh, go tell us.
Is it?
Okay, so
I'm gonna close this out. I think this is the last one, right? Yeah. Just gotta
So
close
the
this
dark,
down.
the dark forest theory works a little bit like this, right? We live in a galaxy that is essentially a giant dark forest. There are
Right.
many advanced civilizations out there, but to each of us, to each of them, they understand that because we've developed this certain way that we have, it makes more sense to be the predator rather than the prey. So upon discovery of a new society or a new intelligent race, it makes sense to snuff them out quick, because if you allow them to develop, they may snuff you out first. And because distances are so far apart, the person that pulls the trigger first is always going to be the one that survives. So the dark forest theory is that there are hundreds and thousands and millions of alien species out there, but they all understand the unspoken code that the quieter you stay in the galaxy, the more likely it is that you will actually survive, because there's always a bigger fish in the sea, to quote Star Wars. And here we are here shooting like radio waves and satellites and crap. Like, hey-oh! And we're
Come get us.
there's a book, and anybody who's a big fan of sci-fi and interested in doing some reading, there's a fantastic book, a series called The Three-Body Problem. It just got turned into a TV show for the people who don't want to read anymore. But I suggest reading the book. I'll always suggest reading the book. And there's actually an alien race. I'm not going to spoil anything, but basically the way that they get rid of other alien races that they discover is they fold them into a piece of paper. So they have the technology to fold them into a piece of paper, and they take the piece of paper and they put it in like a shelf. And they have billions and billions and billions of other races that they have exterminated, but they have to stay very quiet as well, because there are other races even bigger than them. And the whole series revolves around, we finally make contact with an alien race, and the alien race says, in 300 years, we're coming there to destroy you. And so humanity has 300 years to prepare for them. And it's such a good book. Wow. And I don't want to ruin it for you, but man, Three-Body Problem. Go look it up, watch the show.
Can you imagine that? You imagine that somebody, like, we finally make contact with an alien race, and they say, in 300 years, we're coming in to kick your ass. What are you going to do?
Well, it's interesting. We immediately stop fighting each other at that point.
I'm not too sure about that. We got 300 years. It ain't my problem.
Well, what happens is that in the 300 years, they weren't liars. They showed up and they kicked our ass, and they did it.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about today's society, I mean, half of people are going to be debating on. It's going to be like 100 years of debating on whether it's real or not, right? And then by the time that 100 years hit, it's going to be so diluted that you're going to have like people. Well, we can make friends with them.
Well,
if it comes, if it's true.
The species is called the Trisolarans, right? And they do try to make friends with them. And you know what happens? Funny enough, is that some of the humans actually turn coat, and they actually side with the Trisolarans against us. And you kind of realize. So the thing about the Trisolarans is because they don't know how to lie. So they told us they're coming to destroy us, and they're not lying. They're coming to do it. And so you have humans who turn against them, who turn against their own people, turn against the humans and side with them. And it's a really, really interesting story. I dig it. And it's
I did see the show.
Strategy, right? You know,
I haven't read the book. I did see the show. So interesting things in it. I won't say I loved it, but I liked it. Space Commander, thanks for tuning in, buddy. What are you doing up? You got work? We'd stop fighting it first. See, this is the problem, right? Is that we'd stop fighting at first, and then you know what would happen? We'd start going, "Oh, that's not real. That's a conspiracy. It's not real. It's fake." And then after a couple of decades, wouldn't even take 100 years. After a couple of decades, no one would believe it, even if we got the evidence right there in our face. And then it would be like 300 years later, say, "Oh, damn, it was real."
For me, I think the perfect scenario, if there was life, and I imagine it. I mean, I guess I'm more of an optimist, right? I think what would happen is like there's a society of alien races out there. I'm not saying like the Galactic Republic, much like it was in the day the Earth stood still, right? They come down because, well, obviously you have a unique power on Earth here, nuclear weapons, so you can destroy yourselves and you can destroy a lot of stuff with that, right? So they come down to the planet and they give Earth an ultimatum. It's either you join us and you do what we do, or we destroy you. That's that simple, right? Like, if you join us, we'll leave you alone and help you when you need help. You need to stop fighting amongst yourselves. But if you don't join us, you're too much of a danger to the universe that will just destroy Earth. And that's it.
We're not that much of a danger to anyone but ourselves right now, right?
If we put our butts in the spaceships and fly around, man, we are the Klingons. There's no doubt about it. We want to be the Federation, but we're the Klingons.
Yeah,
that's what we are.
I actually think we're more the Ferengi, but it's just
we're mixing in the Klingons and Ferengi. We want to barter and trade, but we want to kill you too.
Yeah. What was the guy's name again? Degrassi. Right. Great name. Can't remember it. Another thing I saw him say was intelligent life outside of where we are. Right. He was saying there's only there's not much difference DNA wise or whatever between us and chimpanzees. Right.
Yeah.
But we are so far removed from them as far as intelligence is concerned that and that's only a fraction, right? So if someone was a fraction more than us, only a fraction more than us, they would be, considerably, potentially, way more intelligent than we are, and look at us like we were chimpanzees.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the same conversation you're having where I pulled that knowledge. Our smartest people in the world. That's the same conversation. I remember that. Yeah.
We also have a severe cultural identity crisis as human beings. If we were to develop,
absolutely.
If we were to
divide our own planet, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. If we were to develop the technology to move to Mars, it wouldn't take too many generations before the people who were born on Mars would start to view Earth as a completely different place. You have Martians, legitimate people born there called Martians. It's just we don't have that unified sense of purpose that we used to. So, like, as soon as we move into space, a lot of stuff starts to happen to us. So, for example, the bacteria that we live around down here, that's very natural for us. Someone born in space wouldn't have those immunities. It's the same could be said about our bone density. It's the same thing that could be said about any kind of allergy that we get. But I will say this, the same thing I said earlier about taking that stress off of the spinal column as well as the dedication of the body to hold your head up. This actually shows that astronauts that spend longer time in space, their mental capacities actually develop. So moving into space and to actually advance the capability for the human mind to evolve might actually be the next step for us to actually get smarter. So one day universities might actually be legitimately in space because it takes away the body's dedication, the body's desire to dedicate resources towards maintaining this meat suit that we have right here, and it actually can dedicate it towards the development of the brain. So we will see some kind of species-based dichotomy eventually once we stop poking each other with sharp sticks and arguing about dumb stuff.
I think that's part of the issue as well, is that we divide the countries, we divide the lands. We have to pay to survive, to live on this rock that's essentially just floating out in space, right? We have to work hard, and this is not a diss on people that have to work hard and pay taxes. And like I know there's purpose for it, right? If it was a difference between me having to live in a cave and try and fend for myself or pay some taxes, I'm going to pay the taxes, and that's no argument here. However, the idea of paying to live and working that cycle and running your life down to a certain number before you can retire, we need to start thinking about how, like in Star Trek, right? Food's just provided, right? You don't have to you hit a button and there's food all of a sudden. Now, if we could figure out how to just support ourselves here, then we might be able to branch out and start exploring without a sense of ownership and without a sense of division. Anyway, Dan's here. How are you, Dan?
That's why that Star Trek, Dan. That's why that Star Trek model is like favored by a lot of people and a lot of scientists. They that's what they're striving for. That's their goal is to create that perfect, well, it's not perfect society, but that kind of society where all your wants and needs are provided for you. You're just there to better the human race.
Right.
Like if you, this kind of stupid. You join the Federation to explore, not war, right? You're going to explore. Right. You just happen to fight alien monsters on planets, to save your crew. But nonetheless, you're there to explore, to have fun.
Exactly.
Shoot the shit in space.
If we break, if we break humanity's main problem down, it's not really a financial issue as much as it is an energy issue. The more when we discovered fire, we moved up. When we discovered coal, we moved up. When we discovered steam, we moved up. When we discovered oil, that's where we are right now. And now we're moving away from oil into solar and wind and all these different sorts of things. If you were to solve the world energy crisis, we would become like significantly different. I mean, so anybody who follows Star Trek, their first contact incident, ironically, in the name of the movie, First Contact, was really what kind of propelled them forward. But this is right after humanity had gone through and was going through a very tumultuous time.
It went through a world war.
Yeah, we just went through a world war. And people were sick of fighting. And historically, if you look at it, humans are like that. After World War I, the nations were so fed up of war, they formed the League of Nations. And after World War II, they were so fed up, they formed the UN. It was just, we get fed up of things and then forget and then come back around. Really, it's the repetition of history. So anyway, back to the energy crisis situation. If we were to solve that energy situation, we would move into, I think we're a type 2 civilization right now. And I think Star Trek is a type 4 or something like that. But it's defined as a type 1 civilization is one that has mastered its Earth, and we've passed that. We've mastered the Earth. We've entered type 2, where we've actually started to terraform the Earth to something that we want through global warming and all sorts of crap. We've started to do that. Type 3 is where we've not only mastered the Earth, but also bits and pieces of our solar system. And type 4 is where we have complete mastery of our particular solar system and moved into the exploration. I think Star Wars is like a type 6 or some crap civilization.
Yeah, we're on the verge of type 3 because they're planning another Mars moon mission. From that, it's a Mars mission. I think the Mars by like 2030. Not it was like 20.
What happened to that? Taking people up? They had like that lottery thing where you put your name down and maybe you go to Mars. What happened to that?
Remember, the big problem there is that the human body deteriorates as soon as it goes into space. And that's why astronauts who spend a long time on the space stations, when they come back down to Earth, their bodies are all frigged up. So they need to kind of master that concept of gravity first, which is do the rotation of these space stations and whatnot. Also, there are a couple of things. So there are a lot of movies that say people that go into space, they go crazy. That's actually quite true, because we actually live on Earth, and Earth makes a noise. We don't realize it because we can hear it all the time. But astronauts who go into space, they don't hear anything. They legitimately have the perfect sound of silence, and it actually gets quite maddening. So there's a lot of things. I think the journey would take 50-something days or 50-something whatever, by using the projections or whatever. It's a long, long, long journey. And they have to kind of account for all these things. Otherwise, the astronauts will go crazy halfway through, And then
the fact that we're social beings and interacting with the same maybe 4 or 5 people would kind of also get on your nerves as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have to go
so much I can say about that right now, but I don't want to get us canceled. So,
speaking of getting us canceled, Emery's here saying unbelievable waste of time, a glaring example of irrelevance. Are we talking about the trip to Mars? If so, yeah, I believe that's true too.
I think we go back to the moon first.
Yeah, if we can't even get to the moon, don't even worry about Mars.
No, before we do that, more substantial space.
It makes more sense.
I want that giant freaking spoked wheel in space.
Yeah, give me one of those.
That becomes a casino, so we can all gamble up there.
It makes more sense. To go to Mars than it goes to go to the moon. I don't think the moon is. It's not really good for agriculture or anything. We can actually terraform Mars.
The moon is the way they explain it in the theory is that the first step is actually more substantial space platform outside the Earth, hover on Earth's
The
orbit.
International Space Station.
So that you can launch missions from.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
like a hub.
So you have a shuttle up there already, so you can devise whatever power you're going to power it by, and then you go to the moon and you build a base on the moon, and then the moon base is your launching point to go to the rest of the solar system.
Yes.
Has to use it. So you're already away from Earth's gravity. The
Yeah.
moon's gravity is a lot less, so it's easier to launch from there. Because I mean, the big problem now is it's fuel basically, because you're going to carry all the fuel that you need to get to where you got to go from here. So you have to launch from here into space with all the fuel that you need. I mean, you don't need to do that. If you can just go up to a space station and launch your ship from there, that's a lot less. It takes a lot less weight, and you can put more what you need on there.
I think 75% of the fuel is actually taken just breaking out of this atmosphere. Everything else.
So Dan's saying, take all the money you want to spend on the space program and fix everything here first. Bridges, infrastructure, the cities, and all that good stuff. Space will always be there. You know what blows my mind? Is the infinite space, right? Never ends.
Yeah.
If I think too hard about that, it gives me a headache.
Well, it does end. There will be an end to all this. I mean, and I think it's that finality that kind of add a lot of urgency to the moments that we're in right now. And I think that's important as well, because one day we too will be over. We may never see, but I think it's important.
Eventually Earth will be over. That's why the human race needs to move on. We're in that what they call the Goldilocks zone in the solar system.
Right.
As the sun starts to expand, because the sun is going to die, then it'll expand before it dies. And once it expands,
you need a plan for that. Yeah, for sure.
Like that Goldilocks zone is going to move to like Mars, and then Earth is just going to become like Venus. Eventually,
but then you got to move again.
Then eventually it'll be like Mercury, and then eventually we'll just be absorbed by the sun if it doesn't blow up first.
Then the sun goes out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and the sun goes out and there's nothing left. But that's crazy.
That's billions of years. Billions and billions.
We don't need to worry about that now. We just got to worry about our global warming situation.
Well, Joe Fan's saying Venus is the place to go. Forget Mars. Go to Venus.
The aliens are probably looking at us and thinking that, look at them fighting each other. Do they not know they only have a couple billion years left?
Right.
There's years left.
They're just going, well, what are we going to do when these guys come over here?
Yeah.
They're fucking Skywalker.
It's hard enough to even leave a country to enter another country. There was no way we're leaving space.
Or how are they gonna what do you call it? Are they gonna put a price tag on space?
Yeah, exactly. They will tax it somehow. Yeah. Skyfall coming in with finally, after an hour and a bit, someone's finally said it. Thank you.
I was trying so hard not to say it. I was like, don't say any.
The true hero comes in. Thank you, Skyfall.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. As I said, aliens probably come down here to study us. They probably find us fascinating. Maybe one day we'll be asked to join them. But I mean, right now we're probably just really, really crazy, anxiety-ridden monkeys with sharp sticks.
I would like to think that if a certain situation did happen, say like the day there stood still, or like where they just show up, right? And they don't let's remove the we're gonna use you guys as food.
That was about to say that. Yeah.
Just remove that portion of V. We'll take the V situation. All of a sudden, these alien ships shows up all around the world. They come down and they're our friends. Obviously, we're gonna be skeptical. They can't. There's a reason to be very cautious about it. But I mean, I would like to think that the world's differences would probably just disappear in the face of that. Because now I think, I'm not sure if Neil deGrasse Tyson said this. Now there's another thing to not like, as opposed to somebody from another country.
That's why
So
I
now
think
I can be friends with my Russian buddy because there's a new possible enemy. In front
no,
of us.
you'll just add another one. You won't take one away. You'll just
Yeah,
add
I
another
think
one.
so.
That's why I think Alien Nation they had it right, where they came to Earth and then they settled here, and then
Well, they
were
came to Earth
living.
because they had nowhere else. They were slaves, right? And they escaped their masters, and
Right,
then they
but
came
I think
here and they just immigrated, and they
I
became
think
like
it would be like
everybody
a
else.
deer, when a deer is attacked, right, by say a bear or a lion out in the wilderness, right? They go about their day, right? A lion shows up or a bear shows up or whatever shows up, and then they're in this panic mode, right? So they stop eating grass, they go into panic mode, and they just run, right? And they try and survive, right? And that is the most terrifying, scariest situation they've ever been in, right? And then if they outrun the lion or the bear or whatever that's chasing them, right? What do? They just go right back to base level, eating grass again, like nothing ever happened. And
That's
I
what
think,
happens now.
I think that's what will happen with us. It would be like all of a sudden be a big panic at first, and then it would all settle down, and then it would be like nothing ever happened. It's like this is normal now. We normalize a lot of things very quickly.
Yeah, that's what happens now anyway. Yeah, you're right.
This,
I mean,
this-
the worst case
okay.
scenario is War of the Worlds, right? You have this superior alien race comes down here, just attacks you,
that is,
and there's nothing you can do about it.
that is.
you can-
I think the day the Earth stood still, the remake.
Yeah.
That's the worst case scenario where they just release nanomachines and disassemble us.
Well, I mean, it's the same story. Yeah.
No, it's quicker and there's more terror because it's
Well,
like
I mean, they didn't know about nanotechnology back then. I mean, they just stuck Gort on your planet and you fuck up, he's gonna kill you. Basically, what it was, right? He's the cop. He's gonna stay there, and then if you mess up, boom, you're dead.
as I said, we as humans, we unfortunately stuck in that concept of hierarchy. There has to be someone at the top, and there, to be at the top is something desirable because it creates that concept of, oh, well, if I'm at the top, I can eat all the food that I want and have all the women that I want. And people always want that one thing. So even if aliens were to come down here, you can bet your bottom dollar, certain nations would be like kowtowing to the aliens to get their technology, to get this, which is kind of a little silly, really, when you think about it, because we always work best. What's created us as a society and made us effective is our ability to actually work together. It's why ants are one of the most successful species on the face of the planet. I mean, they're not really known for their individuality, but certainly they are known for their success as a species. And for us to succeed, we need to start putting a lot of those things aside. I mean, or anything but it doesn't make any sense for the people at the top to allow us to put those things aside. So you get divided on, race and color and creed and class and all these different things. And by the time you're done, stereotyping is the only way for your mind to actually manage the huge amount of information that you receive about everybody in order to stave off that anxiety that's always kind of settling in. And aliens would have gone past that already, either through some form of genetic manipulation or through the concept and that spiritual enlightenment that they've realized that they are all one. And for you to eat is for me to win as well. And in a lot of cases, we're like that. A lot of small communities are very much like that. They understand that the betterment of you is actually the betterment of me. The birth of your child and the raising of your child ensures that our community gets better, which can better the raising of my children as well. And when we start to kind of put that stuff aside, I mean, then the stars become in reach. And I think it was Dan who said it, the fixing of the bridges and the cities and all sort of thing, all that will become sockeye as soon as people realize that the fixing of each of these things will improve society in general. And then the moon and Mars and Venus and the Dyson sphere and all those superstructures, that will be the real golden age of humanity. And that's what Star Trek kind of realized. It's like, it's really best that we all work together.
Yeah. Did you hear the theory that the moon is a Dyson sphere?
I would love
that theory. Yeah. I love that theory.
How badass would that be?
If it was a Dyson sphere, then that's the end of the energy crisis right there. Any kind of generator of that size would be.
That's no moon.
That's no moon.
I think it was a Doctor Who episode where they had the moon as a giant egg. and this
Oh.
huge like
Oh wow, that'd be cool.
alien bird like thing hatched from it and flew off. So then you had a busted moon.
Yeah, apparently not cheese, but yeah, I mean, if it was an egg, oh, crazy. I love seeing those TikToks where they show like monsters and stuff in space coming slowly down onto the Earth. Man, I love the creepy stuff. Give me the creepy stuff.
That's the other terror, is that the aliens out there are actually not any kind of civilization. They're just like the aliens from Aliens, and they're just an interstellar kind of, and what's it called again? Hive mind. That would just that would be uninteresting on so many levels.
I hate that they always lean on that in movies now. If it's not a hive mind, it's the hive mothership. Take out one, take out them all. No, that's too easy.
No,
too easy.
No, they gotta go back to like the thing from another planet.
I was gonna say, bring up the thing.
That thing was a plant. It was a plant-based creature that needed human blood to not only survive but to reproduce. Like it would plant it would plant seeds and feed the human blood to it to grow new creatures to invade the Earth. How about that,
great movie,
dude?
Yeah, that's scary.
Speaking of aliens drinking blood, have you seen War of the Worlds Goliath?
No.
You can look it up on YouTube. This guy wrote a sequel to War of the Worlds and animated it. And it's done fantastically well. And it shows how it happens right before World War One.
Okay.
It's right before World War One, and it shows how humanity can actually put their stuff aside and fight aliens. It was really
Didn't they like because it's a sequel, didn't they like hybrid the technology that was left?
Yes.
Into their own weapons? Yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
It was a good movie.
There was an actual show, I think it was on Epic. It might have been Epic or Stars.
War of the Worlds, yeah.
Yeah, War of the Worlds, where they did it actually in the time that it's supposed to happen in Victorian England. Man, what a ride. What a crazy ride, man. That's nuts. To think about it. I mean, all you had was what, musket guns?
Right. Fire out.
Queen's rifles.
Yeah, Queen's rifles.
Only for the Queen, lads.
It's a heat ray. Like, what happened to Charles? I'll get you with my saber, you bastard.
Well, I mean, in all aspects of War of the Worlds, no matter where it takes place, we're always behind in technology anyway. So might as well be sticks and stones, because it's we don't defeat the aliens in War of the Worlds in any iteration of it. It's got to do with the atmosphere.
The virus, the small bacteria that's on the planet that kills the aliens because they're not adjusted to our climate. Our sicknesses and our common cold could wipe them right out. Which has happened to the was it when the Spaniards in the Aztecs
wiped out
by
measles and stuff. Yeah.
It's like the remake of War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. I think is almost a perfect redo of that of that story. Right. And the way that like even as technically advanced that we are, or we think we are, we're absolutely no match for them at all.
If they can come here, they've got way more technology than we have.
I remember you remember the original movie, right? Have you seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so there's a scene where this is after they come out of the tube, out of the cylinder. And they're still in the pit and they're waiting to come out. And the army's there and they've set a perimeter. They got all their state-of-the-art weaponry. They just won a world war. They got it all there. They're ready to go. And they're going to fly a bomber over and drop a flare to see what they look like. Because they don't know what they look like yet. And they do. And once they drop the flare, all hell just breaks loose. They come out and they start zapping everybody, and they just find that like their weapons are like their wooden M1 rifles are no good. The Tommy guns are no good. I just launched Sherman tanks are shooting at them and nothing. Let's send in the sabers. They do nothing. It's like what do we do now? And the doctor's like they have some sort of electric field around them. It's like, what do we do to combat that? We just got bullets. That's all we got.
That movie was actually properly terrifying because
was.
at that point I hadn't read the book when I saw it. So
Yeah.
I thought, wow, how are we really going to win this one? Because they've really dug us in a hole in the process of burying us. And like, you know, the whole disease thing kicked in and it kills. So I was like, I actually felt like, I guess you're young, so you feel that active relief. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, we won this one, thank God.
I mean,
You know?
like, you got right before that happens. I mean, they're actually onto something. Like they've gotten some Martian blood. The one doctor gets some Martian blood because they come in contact with them. Because after they do decimate the area, some of the Martians come out to explore their new land, right? Check out this farmhouse. Well, anyways, you know, so they actually had some blood, and they were going to investigate it to try to find a way to kill them, to get to them. But with the evacuation of LA, everything just went haywire, and everybody was running every way. So when the scientists came through in their buses, they got stopped. And all the people just like pulled them off the bus so they could get the hell out of Dodge, use their bus instead of the scientists. So when the main character, I forget what his name is, shows up and he's like looking for, what was her name? I want to say Stella, but I know it's not Stella, Olivia or something like that. And he's like, "Where's the bus?" And there's like, "Oh, they just ransacked the buses and stole the buses from the scientists." What happened to the scientists? It's like he's like, "You fools! This is how we're gonna win the war, and you're killing us. You're killing us, literally." And the guy just decks him, and then just takes off in his truck.
It's always it's always in the moment. No one ever looks forward. It's always in the moment. How to survive in the moment.
Yeah, and it was a good movie for it came out.
Great. The original radio serial. So good.
Is that the one where they scared the crap out of everybody?
Yeah,
it was
brutal.
Yeah, it was in New Jersey.
Those are
like
you Americans. You guys are mean.
I mean, Americans. I'm not me.
You live there, you know.
I live here, but I'm not.
There's some of the practical jokes that have been played. I mean, that one, and you could bet your bottom dollar, like everyone.
Well, it was Halloween night that they.
Yes, it was Halloween night, man.
It wasn't a practical joke though. They weren't seriously trying to convince people that it was happening.
They made it sound real because they had like a fake concert going on, and then they would break in with radio updates.
Don't adjust your sets, you know. Do not adjust your sets.
Yeah. So
what you're hearing is a live report from the front line of the UFO that has just landed in New Jersey, and then that is just the people. It's like, what? You know?
Yeah. No, it's just crazy to think that something like that could happen. It'd be nuts if it did.
I would not be happy.
I'd be okay if it was a Monday and I didn't have to go to work.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Would that be okay to happen, or would a zombie invasion, a zombie apocalypse happen be better? What would you rather have?
Really horrible. And Dan Sheehan is right, and her name was Sylvia.
Sylvia. Just running around.
Close. He said Stella. It was close.
Yeah, Stella. Close. Yeah,
it was pretty close.
I'm like, every time I watch it, I mean, I probably said it when I was a kid. Why are you screaming? They're gonna hear you.
Yeah.
That's a rough question. Zombie invasion or War of the Worlds style alien invasion? I mean,
not knowing the end of it. Like, it may not end that way.
We have a better chance against depending. Are they fast zombies or are they?
Well, I don't know. There's so many zombies. To me, a zombie is like the mummy, right?
Right.
But you can shoot them in the head and stop them. Not those mummies from World War Z where they just run at like 60 miles an hour, and they go around anybody that's got some sort of disease.
I'm not cool with either, honestly. But I'd rather.
That's fair.
I feel like the alien one for me because the human camaraderie. At least I know I could trust the humans. But in the zombie invasion one, I've watched too many zombie shows now. Where just the humans turn into animals and it's a free for all.
Don't worry, Hans. We won't throw you to zombies.
We can't outrun Hans.
We need our Hans.
We've been trying to keep up.
I would assume sacrifice myself to zombies if it were to save your life.
It's like I also don't like the concept of, and I guess when you have kids, it feels like that, especially young children. You don't like. I get anxious when they can't eat, and it's been and they're saying they're hungry. So nonetheless, like in a society where pass. I don't like that. You know what I mean?
When you become a dad, stories change. You go back and watch movies that you used to watch as a kid, and all of a sudden you get a different perspective on it because of the fatherhood of it all.
I don't much like watching like those shows that come on that are like meteor apocalypse. What could happen. I don't like watching those because I don't like thinking about that stuff. And then every time they talk about NASA's spotted an asteroid, and you're like, oh shit, is this the end of the world right now? How much time?
Joe fans saying, cut it out with the squeaking, whatever that is.
Is the sound of the earth. That's the sound of the earth, man. Joe fan, that means you gotta go.
Watch this, watch this. I bet you it's me. Watch this.
Well, it ain't me because I got a new chair. It's nice and quiet.
Well, my chair definitely makes a sound when I move on it, but I heard a beeping sound before. Was it beeping or squeaking?
I don't hear a squeak.
I heard a beep going beep, beep, beep.
Is Hans's chair digital? Does it make beeping sounds? Look at him.
I heard a beep, not a squeak. Maybe it's alien technology.
Look at that smirk.
It matches the cartoon.
See, he hasn't said it's gone as yet.
He said beefy.
It is. I had the same problem.
No, beefy
when I was on one of Jay's streams once because it's the rainy season right now.
Is it? I'm moving around. Did you hear it?
It's the rainy season right now.
Oh, I hear it. I heard a squeak. I think it's something in the background. There it is again. Yeah, there it is again.
I don't hear any beefy squeaks.
I don't hear beefy squeak, but I hear.
We're gonna have to. We should change our podcast to beefy squeak.
Can you name that beefy squeak?
It's probably my computer because outside right now because it's rainy season, all the crickets are getting it on to make babies for the next generation. So it's probably me.
Play some Barry White.
It's probably me. So I'll mute myself.
No. It's not an issue.
Don't mute yourself. It's
come
fine.
Back, Come back.
Come back.
Baby, come back.
Baby, come back. Ooh, you can blame it all on me. I was wrong, and I just can't
live without you.
This is dedicated to Joe fan.
Is this better?
That was for you, Joe fan. That was for you.
Anyway.
That's crazy.
Yeah, kids are always hungry. You could feed them and they'll still ask what's for dinner. Well, now we find out it's crickets mating. So I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
Hey.
It's just the crickets making love.
Making sweet love.
Making sweet cricket love.
Sweet
which means the frogs are also at the buffet. That's what
right.
so let's talk about alien movies. What is your favorite alien movie? Favorite of all time?
That is an alien.
That has to do with an alien.
That isn't alien.
Is Event Horizon alien or no?
Nah, Event Horizon.
No, that's more like Satan in space.
That's more like Satan in space. Actually, you know what? I can do what I did last time. Y'all are going for an adventure. You're going through Casa de Hans. I'm gonna go upstairs, away from the alien noises.
It's not a bother for me, Hans. You don't have to move on our account.
You don't have to move. You see that? It's okay, man. We're gonna get a tour. We're gonna get a tour. Look at it's a part of the room we've never seen before.
Wow, I didn't even know there were other rooms.
You've seen it here first. On Gazz and Xaz, a tour of Hans's home.
Wow. Is that an alien in the background?
There's an alien in the background. Look.
He's got stairs? No wonder he's so trim. Look at all those stairs. Watch out for roller skates. You got kids.
Yeah.
Watch out for skateboards.
Matchbox cars, Lego bricks.
It's going to be hilarious if it's louder when he gets upstairs. So I think, Space Marines, so good. Hans likes the old Space Marines as well. Aliens and Alien is good, but
Yeah.
I can,
Keep
and
it
I
going.
love those.
I can still hear him.
Shut up. I've made a lot of
I don't hear a thing. But I think the John Carpenter's The Thing, such a great movie. Rewatchability on that film.
I can't handle those. That's the worst type of alien, the body snatcher style. Ugh.
Oh, Invasion of the Body
yeah.
Snatchers. Ooh. The original one and the remake. That remake with Leonard Nimoy was insane. What's his name? Kiefer Donald Sutherland at the
Donald
end.
Sutherland.
He's like,
yeah, that scene.
that's a
Invasion of the Body
crazy movie,
Snatchers, yeah.
man. Crazy movie. Like, how do you deal with that? I mean, zombies are one thing, but man, everybody is themselves, but not themselves at the same time. Crazy.
Yeah, thing was,
I
and
prefer
is awesome.
As much as I love that iteration of the thing, I still love the original. The original is my favorite.
Oh yeah, but they're almost the concept's the same, but they're almost two different films entirely.
Totally different, yeah.
Because of the different type of alien. Like I love the plant-based alien idea. What a concept, right? It's like Day of the Triffids. That's a great movie too, where the environment, the plants, the trees, whatever, they just go, no, we're taking the world. Great stuff. And I love it when they don't explain it. I don't need an explanation with my aliens or horrors or whatever.
I don't know who my favorite aliens are. I mean, obviously the Xenomorph.
Sure.
Is probably like my favorite, like rewatchable, fun movie. But aliens,
they're probably the most iconic looking.
Yeah, they're definitely the most iconic. But I don't know which ones are like that. Most aliens I find actually to be kind of scary because like I don't know, man. Like John Carpenter's The Thing for sure. That's terrifying. Those guys are not cool. That was not cool at all. Probably the only other one that kind of like, and you're gonna laugh, and I hate that you're gonna laugh. But do you remember the movie Green Slime?
Green Slime?
I'm gonna look that up. Green Slime. Who's in it? Do you know?
I can't remember, but I saw it when I was way too young.
Green Slime. All right, I'm looking it up.
Talk about that. I mean, like you want to talk about that doesn't explain anything. I mean, I'm going to go with the Blob. The original.
I love the Blob.
That movie is great.
Look, that's a picture. All right, you see, look, that in the background I have right there. That's what the alien looks like. Right?
Can you make him bigger?
Yes, I can.
What's going on in that picture? Let's lead us. What is that?
Right.
That looks like H.R. Huffenpuff.
That terrified me as a child.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch this movie. If it terrified you, I need to watch it.
Listen, what you need to do is you need to remember the theme song because the theme song does not match.
Have you heard the theme song for the Blob?
Yep, I did. Ridiculous.
Such a catchy tune, man. It's crazy.
I do love the Blob. The original black and white one.
Yeah. Well, they colorized it too. Well, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I've seen the colorized version.
It's like seeing Steve McQueen in a sci-fi science fiction movie. It's crazy.
Trying to think what else is a good alien movie.
The other aliens, I mean, Fire in the Sky, as I said before, was probably one of the more terrifying aliens that I could have seen.
Yeah,
because it's whoever the director was, I don't know who it was, but he understood that. Take care. He's one of the he put it in that the aliens didn't treat us as though we were people. They treated us as though we were lab rats, and the kind of like detached kind of analysis they were giving the cap. It was, and also the way it was uncomfortable. You know,
brutal. There's a Christopher Walken movie that deals with alien
abduction. Oh yes, that is a really good movie. What is that one called? I can't remember
the name of it. I think he's a writer in New York, and every time he goes like to his like lake house or something like that, he gets abducted. Oh, Chris Nolan.
Gazz, I reckon
anything in your ear.
Yeah, anything in the ear is no good. Close Encounters is a great movie as well. Gazz, I reckon I can pick your favorite alien movie first off the bat, and there's no way I'm wrong.
Hold on,
I
hold
would
on.
put
The movie's called Communion. Christopher Walken.
yes,
That
yes,
movie's nuts.
it
It's
is
insane.
nuts. I love that movie. Ah, man, I got to go back and rewatch that. All right, Gaz, your favorite alien movie, Alien from Outer Space, guaranteed, am not wrong, will be Superman. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. It's right there.
Definitely Superman. Yeah,
And there's another one right there. Why can't I get this right?
that's all right.
But like, even though I just had it, The Last Starfighter.
Yes. Oh, such a great movie too.
Yes, it's a good movie. But Alien Monster movie. Yeah, another good one is that Species movie. You remember Species?
Oh gosh, yes.
Yes.
I
was
remember
crazy.
Species for a bunch of reasons.
I wish I had the Mac and Me clip to play, but
What
Paul
was the
Rudd
one?
has all the clips.
What was the one in? Was it Meatballs 2 when they had an alien chopped down? You remember Meatballs? You ever seen Meatballs?
Remember
Never seen
Meatballs? I've seen Meatballs.
too. I thought maybe it's Meatballs. I don't know. That an
It's
alien.
been a while. It's been
I
a hot
remember
second.
Meatballs too. Mm.
Scary alien though. Scary alien movie. Oh, there was that one. I just watched this recently. It's like for the stupidest reason, these aliens come down, and I think it's got two names, but I know it by I Come in Peace is the name of the movie. Stars Dolph Lundgren and this huge Swedish dude, and
Yeah,
the
right.
alien comes down, and he's an alien drug dealer.
Okay.
He rips off he rips off this mob, steals all their heroin, then uses the heroin and injects his victims. So he'll go after anybody, injects their victims with the heroin to create these endorphins in your brain. And then he sticks this massive spike in your forehead and he pulls out this brain juice. And that's the drug he's after to sell to his alien buddies. And so another alien comes down and he's a cop chasing after him. And then Dolph Lundgren, he ends up dying, and Dolph Lundgren ends up, going after the alien. It's pretty cool. Good movie. I Come in Peace. I know there's another name for it.
I can't remember the name of this alien movie, but there's a group of, I think they're also drug addicts, but there's a group of teens or young adults, and they find this alien and they bring it back to the house, and it wakes up. And the only scene I can remember from it, I can't remember what the name of it's called. I can't remember how it ends, but the only scene I remember from it is this alien disembowels this person, right? And while he's still alive, he starts pulling out his intestines slowly. And he's like sitting there in a panic, like trying to hold his own intestines in, and the alien just keeps pulling him out slowly. Oh.
So here it is. I Come in Peace. Otherwise known, aka Dark Angel, is the name of the movie.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Movie's
How
pretty
young
decent.
Dolph used to be.
Oh,
Jeez.
yeah. I think this is before he did the Punisher movie.
Joe Fan's telling us when he first saw his a topless woman. I think the first time I ever saw a topless woman in a movie was probably a Monty Python movie.
Stripes.
Stripes. Yeah, maybe it was Stripes. They were everywhere. In the 80s.
Use the loofah. Use the loofah.
I love that scene. That's great.
There were a lot of movie wise when aliens kind of became like this mega craze. I think there was like a whole smattering of man versus alien, man versus alien, man versus flying saucer for a long time, but eventually they kind of cheesecaked it. And I think it was
the 50s had a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. But I think it was the late 80s, 90s, they started to cheesecake all the aliens. So like all the aliens became
if it wasn't cheesecake, it was horror. Right? Because you had the original Alien come out. And that was just a horror. It was like a slasher movie in space.
So you had the two types of aliens. You had like the bestial kind of alien, and then you had the sexy aliens. And like that's like the only choices we had for like 20 years. And then, not including Doctor Who always had kind of like an intelligent alien business. And then you had the kind of the benign. I did see Slither. I did.
Not sure if I know that one. That's not about snakes, apparently.
No, it's not. It's not about snakes. Do you remember this show about these aliens and they're like this? And they fly and they attach themselves to your back Was that
Yeah,
the
what
body?
was
Yeah,
that
no,
one?
that was in a show. That's called the Puppet Masters.
The Puppet Masters.
I think it's either Puppet Master or the Puppet I think it's the Puppet Masters. It had
Yep.
Donald Sutherland in it, and they were like this like government unit, and
Yep.
it's kind of like a takeoff of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
And they have like a hive in the center, and they start growing out from that hive.
Yeah.
And, like these little kids built a spaceship, kind of like a side road like event, and people would go see it. And when they went in, they got one attached to their
Yep.
back, and they come out. Yeah, that's a great movie. It's a great movie.
There was a scene where one of the girls was like about to make love to like the main character, and there's like she takes off she has her bra on, but she takes off her shirt, and the camera zooms out. She has one on her back while the guy's making out with her. And at that point, I lost it. I was like, I can't watch this anymore. It's too much. And then she kind of, when he realized when he touched it, she leapt off of him and started to shriek like a cat. I think I cried.
Have you finished watching the movie? Because it's really
of course,
good.
I did finish watching it, where the dude got covered in them in the end. I was not happy with that.
I was like, that's the kind of science fiction, like the alien movies that I kind of dig. It's like that. It's more like it's not just like the aliens are there to kill you. They want to take over.
Yeah.
They want to run everything.
Have you seen this one? I think this was aliens. There's definitely something going on in this town. And I thought,
no, it doesn't sound familiar.
it's a great movie. Great movie, The Crazies. Check it out.
Oh, there was one. This is freaked out one. I think it's called something to do with a drink. Oh, that's the name of the movie, and it's got the actor that was in I want to say Salem's Lot or Return to Salem's Lot. Really, really like kind of you kind of gotta. The actor's kind of weird, but there's like a meteorite that crashes in this town, and it's like an alien, and it's almost kind of like the Blob, kind of, but it's like fuzzy. It's like a fuzzy drink, and they start marketing it, and it takes over everything.
Is it White Stuff?
Maybe that's the name of it. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. No, the stuff. It's called the stuff.
The stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
Was not happy with that movie either. You see anything to go inside your mouth or your ear or your nose?
Yeah.
It's like, what the is going on here? This is nuts.
That's what.
Then you see it coming out of the ground, and dude starts eating it. Like, what's this stuff? I'm like, what?
Here's a question for everyone: Has anyone here actually witnessed a phenomenon that could not be explained?
Oh boy,
I have one. Let's say think it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was back when I was younger. You know, we lived in a neighborhood. I mean, we're in a city, but where we were, there was a lot of field around, so there was a lot less light, so you could see a nice starry night at night, a clear night, and we were just like stargazing, just laying out, and it was me and my friends just chilling, looking up, and his dad was one of my friends' dads was out there with us, and we were looking up, and we saw this thing moving, like across the sky. This is going like kind of like when you see a satellite, right? If you find a satellite, it just moves at a constant pace. And we're like, oh, look at that. And of course, we don't know about satellites when we were kids, right? We're like, oh, what's that? What's that right there? Look, is that a plane? And the father looks up and goes, I think I'm going to get a satellite. And then it stopped. It literally stopped and just shot off in like a 90-degree turn.
Oh, that's cool.
And we're like, oh, what was that? Was that a spaceship? Was it aliens?
Definitely a spaceship.
That's about it right there. But I mean, that could have been anything, really. Could have been a.
Well, it was unidentified, so.
Could have been a hubcap from a 78 Delta 92, right? I don't know.
Definitely a hubcap. Yeah, Chrysler.
I don't have any. What about you, Zazel?
Well, I don't personally have one, but I remember when we were living in the outback as kids, Mum and Dad used to have to go into town to do like a big shop, right? And the town was probably 45 minutes to an hour outside of the nearest town, and we were in a small mining town. So if they went out, they weren't back until night, right? So apparently one night, I wasn't there for it, but I was told, one night they were driving down this. It was a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, no street lights, wasn't especially clear. It wasn't especially clear night either, so there wasn't a lot of stars or anything. But they say what they saw was a light that followed the car and would go over the car and then follow the car again and then would come close, not too close that you could make out what it was, but then would go up and then be like over the vehicle. And I thought, oh, that's scary. Maybe that was an alien, but I didn't get to see it, unfortunately. But some sort of floating light out in the middle of nowhere in the Australian desert.
That's what happened to the main characters in Earth versus the Flying Saucers. They were just driving down the road, and all of a sudden a UFO came and buzzed them.
There we go. And Joe Fan's got one. Is it? He's from Morrow. What's GA for? What's that mean? GA. Georgia. And there was a bright light just hovering over the church pond, and it started to fly straight towards the city. Ooh, that might have been the second coming of Christ.
Hey.
The only thing, and this is not alien stuff, but it's like the only kind of thing that can resemble it is like when you go for diver's certification, and this is also like a thing of mine, diving. Part of it is you have to go for a night dive. So on your first night dive, it's like 2 a.m. in the morning, and they take you out, and you think the water's scary when you can not see, and then they put you in black, and you go down about 30 feet or something, and you can't. There's no light above you where the sun comes from, and down there is really an alien world because that's when all the glowy fish start to come out. The thing about the glowy fish is the only reason they're glowing is to attract other things to eat them. And you kind of like realize like this is what another planet would feel like. You know, it's just it's legitimately like scary stuff. Well, Gazz will be able to have like a first-hand experience soon enough. So, you know, it's
he's gone diving.
Man,
Good luck, Gazz.
We'll see.
He doesn't. I don't know. He doesn't seem too keen.
We'll see.
But JLS was in a jungle while being attacked by an invisible creature firing lasers. Did you get it? Did you escape by covering yourself in mud? Let us know.
I'm surprised nobody said Predator because Predator is a great movie.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like an alien movie.
No, it's like an action.
Well, yeah, action kind of / horror because I think that's how it was. Yeah, that's kind of what it
That is the most. That is the most like for such an advanced species. That's the most backwater approach. Yeah, boys, we gonna go hunting down there on them Earth. It's like
that makes perfect sense to me.
If you think about it, right? If you take the Predator race. And you think about how it's run, right? It's got to have its bankers. It's got to have its normal guys, right? No, the guys that we're seeing are the
like alone.
So you got these predators that are just like bankers and grocery workers and killing, just doing their everyday stuff, and then you got the guys that are hunters in these tribes.
Predator bankers. Loan denied.
You can't go on your hunting expedition to Earth this time.
You didn't earn enough profit in your first quarter. Your third quarter is going to be difficult.
Was that John Travolta movie where they played aliens and they take over the Earth?
Oh yeah,
they're like giant aliens.
Battlefield Earth.
Yeah. Oh. I guess the book is good, but the movie just didn't pan out.
It sure didn't.
Listen, I just watched the Deadpool movie, right?
Yeah.
And the Deadpool movie, right? Well, you're about to hear it, right? The Deadpool movie, like many movies, is proof that a movie doesn't need to be like high art to be entertaining, right? Like I laughed my tail off watching that movie. And I had a good time watching it. But I recognize that this is not high art. Battlefield Earth falls into the exact same category. You sit down there and you laugh at it and you have fun watching it, whether it's so good that it's bad or so, bad that it's bad. You're watching it regardless. You're watching Danny Zuko with fake dreadlocks, kind of, do his thing, whatever, and you have a good time with it, The movies, listen. The movie that sets its primary goal as entertainment will always get through to my monkey mind. All right. And if I happen to learn something along the way, wonderful. If not, that's fine too. Because I watched Christopher Nolan is one of the best directors of all time. But I never watch his movies more than once because it's just like, this is great. I'm a better human being. I'm not going to buy this on DVD because I don't want to think that much when I watch a movie. I would just want to put something on and carry on. But James Cameron's Avatar, I've watched that movie 365 times at minimum. Every single night in university, I used to slap that movie in and do all my work to it for point quoting that word. Was it a fantastic movie? Not really. Was it a visual spectacle? Absolutely. Was it entertaining? Hell yes. So yeah, you don't need to be high art, And as I said, it's the same. I feel the same way about a lot of like alien movies, especially the movies that they're like, are the aliens really the aliens? Have we been the monsters all along? Shut up! Shoot some ray guns,
Oh man.
I think back to the old like this is just something that Space Commander could like it's back to the old movie serials where they use like moon men, like they're aliens, they're aliens that live on the moon. They have a society on the moon. They come here because they've depleted all their air, so they need to take over the Earth. So they're gonna kill us all and then take over the Earth. And then they use like gangsters to like be their henchmen on the planet. Those are great stories.
Aliens came from the next planet, right?
Yeah.
They weren't from outer space, like in galaxies far away. There's like Mars, the moon.
Buck Rogers, the original storyline. I mean, we had people. There were people living on Saturn, Venus, because they didn't know this stuff. They just inhabited the solar system, and that was the galaxy, right? Just simple stuff. And I think, after the 80s, where everything became horror or total action, like two-dimensional alien creatures, I think going back to that kind of storytelling, we just like you're saying, Hans, it's just the suspension of disbelief. You need to stop thinking and just enjoy what you see. If the aliens live on Venus, and we know that it's physically impossible for anybody to live on Venus, Russia sent a probe there, and it in 2 seconds being on the surface crushed from the gravitational forces, right? So that nobody can live there. But who's to say that in Space Patrol there isn't a city on Venus where they're all living and chilling and doing some cool shit, right?
Living and chilling.
It's just like sometimes watching a movie, and Deadpool is perfect. The storyline is just to
string cool scenes together.
String cool scenes together and work it into the existing movies that are coming out with Disney, right? That's all this is, right? That's all this vehicle is. And it's just one laugh at it after laugh. Fun action. It's just a good time. Especially that opening fight scene.
Yeah. I loved it.
So that's oh my god, that was hilarious.
Great soundtrack.
Anyway.
Very few aliens.
Very few aliens in it. Yeah, that's right. No aliens.
Great stuff.
The topic of aliens in and unto itself comes into one of those, as I said, I've said it already, the dark forest concept. I really think it's like that. Anything that's smart enough to get here has gotten to the top of its food chain by being very similar to us. Extraordinarily predatory and probably with a sprinkle of anxiety on the top. So if they have that kind of technology and that kind of inclination, they would swat us quickly, because what we could become might become a problem later.
Well, I mean, if you think about it though, in a weird way, if they're so advanced, right? So they probably depleted all their natural resources on their planet, and now are moving out into space, searching for new stuff. You know, we're just going to be an obstacle in their way to get what they need from this planet. Like that's what every alien invasion movie is basically about. I mean, they even did a documentary. I think it was on like a Nat Geo or something like that, where like an actual they kind of like told a story about
alien invasion.
Yeah, and they were here to just take our natural resources.
They sent robots.
Our water.
They sent robots to do it. They didn't even bother to show up.
And like there's a movie with Tom Cruise. What's that one? It's got
War of the Worlds.
No, there's another one. Where he plays it. No, he plays an astronaut, and he was out to. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. He plays an astronaut, and they sent him out to make contact with this vessel. And they cloned them, and then he has there's so many clones of him on the planet, and all his job is to do maintenance on the machinery that's stealing our natural resources, our water and stuff.
Oblivion.
Yeah, thank you. Great movie, great science fiction movie.
Loved it. Cool that was a fun movie.
What a cool movie. And it's interesting to see that, and for you could if you think of this dark forest theory, that's what they can be out there. They're just out there. They're looking for stuff, and we're just going to be in the way. We're that gnat in the way. Oh, swat these mosquitoes away. We need to get the shit off this planet and just go for it. Or
why would you just stay here? If you want the resources, rather than taking it away, you would just move everybody here.
Maybe they pissed off a higher technology race that's hunting them down, and they're just looking to refuel.
You know, I don't know if I've seen this. Maybe you can educate me. But are there any alien movies where the aliens move here under directive of their commanders, and when they arrive here, they realize they're so superior to us, they could actually rule here and start their own little kingdom? And it's one of those, would you rather serve in heaven or rule in hell situations where they decide to take us as their own kind of thing and revolt against their own masters? Because that's I'd watch that.
I want to say there is.
What's the one where the opposite happens, and it's in South Africa, and it's like they're in the slums?
District 9.
Yeah,
District 9. Freaking great. No, I think there is a movie I think it. There is one.
They Live.
They live.
That's true. They do take us over.
They take us over, and like the one percenters of us join them, and they're all cool with it and stuff.
That's another movie I couldn't watch more than once. It hits too hard.
You have to watch it every once in a while.
I could watch it once. I watched it once, and that was
Nate.
That's such a great movie.
But what's it called? Something Frog Town or something was another one with Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've only seen that. I think I've only seen that once or twice. I need to watch that again.
That's a movie you could watch on repeat. It's good fun.
Funny you mentioned that, because I haven't seen it since I was younger, but I did see, I think it must have been on Facebook or something, where maybe it was Twitter, or they call X now, that an image of that came up, and I was like, oh, I need to go back and watch that.
It's fun.
There's a couple of good shows that I love that I think is great. One of them is from the 60s, and it's called what's it called? Oh, why did I just draw a blank? I think it's called Invasion. One second.
What about Transformers? That's a good alien movie.
That is a bloody alien movie, isn't it?
It's called the Invasion, where this guy sees a UFO, and then he goes on a journey, and he uncovers a secret plot that the aliens are here and they're controlling everybody. It's an old 60s show. It's really good. And then the other one that I love that deals obviously with aliens is Stargate.
Oh yeah.
That whole concept is just mind blowing, because it's taken from actual theories. Like there are theories that there's Stargates that were in ancient Egypt or whatever, whether it's true, whatever. But I think the way it works is great. It's like this basically subway system throughout the whole galaxy, connected by these portals, and it's all devised by this ancient race, and then this parasite race takes it over, and controls it, and they bring in slaves and stuff. It's pretty cool.
When you call it a subway system, I mean, yes,
basically
you're
what
right,
it is.
right? But come on, man, be respectful.
Have you seen the show The Umbrella Academy? It's on Netflix.
I haven't seen it.
There's a scene with this character called Five, right? He's one of the members of the team, and he has the ability to teleport himself, kind of like Nightcrawler, but he can port into the future and into the past.
Right.
It's weird, right? Anyways, so he has an issue. He has a problem with his abilities. Like they lose their abilities in one season, and they get him back. So his port only takes him to a subway system, and the subway system can take him to alternate dimensions, but at the same time. So
That's
he can
cool.
go to like this flip. It's nuts, and he spends like 7 years in the subway system trying to find his way back, and they show it in like a montage in the episode. And it's crazy, and it's mind blowing to think that, like, imagine if something like that actually existed. You just jump to another dimension and trying to find home. You spend like 7 years, 10 years, and it's like nothing because when you get back home, it's all the same day. You know, when you get back, because you come back in the past,
Right.
they'll come back and they'll teleport back to when he's supposed to be. So 7 years has passed for him, but for everybody else, it's the same freaking day. Like he's only been gone for like an hour.
That's cool.
That's crazy.
Sliders. That was a good show.
Sliders is a great show. My God, what a good show that is. Especially when they brought what's her name in.
What's her name? Woo woo.
Forget her name.
So Nate used to watch Stargate every week. I think that was Event Television when it first came out.
That's a great show.
If you haven't watched it again in your adult life, it's okay. It's all right, mate. No judgment here. I think the movie is superior to the TV show, personally.
I love the movie, and I love the fact that they just built it into the show. That's the starting point for the TV show. They didn't create a whole new universe.
That's the respectful way to do it.
Yeah.
That's how they should do it. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, there's a Mortal Kombat TV show that a lot of people don't remember because it was absolute madness, you know. Carrie Warher, that's the girl.
Yeah, I think that's her name, right?
I can't
remember.
I believe it, unless that's the daughter of the guy that runs the cantina in Tatooine. shit, Hans. Fair enough.
That's her. Yeah, that's her.
Give us a look.
She was
on the sliders, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Woo-wee.
Woo-wee.
Woo-wee. She was in Anaconda. That was an interesting movie.
She
that was her?
Anaconda. Yeah, she got eaten by the anaconda, didn't she?
And they spit out what's his face? Eric
Stoltz. Eric Stoltz? John Voight?
No.
John Voight.
John Voight, yeah. I kept thinking that girl's father, and I keep
John Voight. Great actor.
What about that accent in that movie, though? Oh, they don't. What accent is that, Mr. Voight? He's the one I'm using for the whole movie, but you don't.
He's from the Bayou, but he's from South America.
Yeah,
he's just mixing.
You know where you are, sir? We're in the Amazon. What part of the Amazon sounds like that, sir? I played John Paul II in the movies. John, stop, man. Come on.
Dang, indeed.
You ever see Life Force?
Yes.
That movie?
Yes, I did. That movie is an underappreciated classic. And you know what's crazy? It's based on a book.
Yeah, it is. Freaking nuts. Have you ever seen
Attack of the Space Vampires.
Yeah. You seen it, Hazel?
I don't think so. What's it called?
It's called Life Force. They find this massive ship in the tail of Halley's Comet. This is a Halley's Comet, right? And on the ship, they find like 3 beings encased in these crystal, that's it, crystal, and they bring him back.
You know who's not on the cover? Patrick Stewart. He's in
this.
Is that right?
That's right. But he wasn't a big actor at the time.
Yeah.
Did he still look the same though?
Yes, he was still bald and Picard-like.
Yeah, and so they turn out to be space vampires and just wreak havoc in London. It is nuts. It's got some good effects too, some practical effects.
All right, I'll check it out.
Really decent movie.
You
I
will
got some
not be
homework.
disappointed. It's a damn good movie.
All right. Oh, I will take on that recommendation, and I will make it so.
Ha! That's why we hang around you, Zazel. You're sharp.
Yeah,
Like
all the bad jokes. Oh, this was anyway. We're at the 2 hour mark, and I'm going to fall asleep. I've done a lot, but we need to revisit potentially this subject again. But maybe, yeah.
aliens from comics.
Yes,
Aliens from comics. So Hans is now officially the third member of our group.
Oh god.
Yeah, he's in.
We're gonna change it to Hans, Gazz, and Xaz.
Yeah,
shit.
I can't have top billing. That's not fair. I don't.
It's appropriate.
Well, all right. How about Xaz, Hans, and Gazz shoot the shit? Is that better?
Nah.
Last should be featuring, also starring.
Special, yeah, because it's like the credits, right? You always put the star goes first. But the director's always last because the director's the most important person.
Gazz and Xaz shoot the shit featuring Hans.
Yeah.
No, the illustrious Hans. No.
Also featuring Don Knotts.
What if it's Hans shoots the shit
featuring Gazz and Xaz?
with Gazz and Xaz? We'll figure this thing out.
In the corner.
It's just Hans. We're not even in it anymore. We're out.
Picture Hans and it will be on the shirt.
Yeah.
Y'all are full of crap.
Come on, man.
Well, I'll sleep on it. I'll get back to you. I'll let you know. But this was a fun hangout, guys. We definitely need to come back again. Comic books, aliens.
Comic book aliens.
All right, we can do that. We can do that. Sounds good. Thanks to everyone in the chat that did hang out and watch with us. Whereas it's always a fun time. Here we go. Han shoots the shit while Xaz and Gaz watch. Yeah, we'll be in the chat.
I'll watch that.
Yeah, me too. But definitely hit that like button, please. It really does help us. And we do this. Yeah, and sorry you had to move.
Fine, bro.
Making the host move.
Man.
But we appreciate you hanging out with us, Hans. We thank you for all your insight and your voiceover work. Gaz, a pleasure to hang out again, my friend, and everyone in the chat. This was a good one, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. In the meantime, live long and prosper, and I'll see you.
Hold on. I got to do this. There you
go. Yeah, that's close enough. No judgment. See ya, fellas.
Check it out one time, won't you?